So basically what I wanted to tell you about, guys, today is my story that I've recently been working on while kind of researching the issues with the export button in our back office product. But I'll tell you a bit about this a little bit later. Let me introduce some more details about me. So yeah, you already know my name. I'm a discovery team lead at Coinspaid. I have a background. I've been working with different companies, startups like Awesome, uh, consulting companies like BCG and Deloitte. I've been working for mobile development companies, and also had my own business as well. And but I think the greatest thing about me is that I'm coming to the USA event in a month, and I would really love to see all of you there. So if you would like to say hi to me, just come. I'm a really friendly guy, and I really would love to meet you in person. I've recently joined Coinspaid back in December, and Coinspaid is a company which provides several crypto solutions. One of the main ones is the crypto payment gateway. The other one is business wallet. So basically, those two products give you an ability to accept cryptocurrencies, manage funds, and withdraw fiat currencies. And crypto is kind of developing in a really high pace. The thing is that there are still UX issues in a lot of places, and I truly believe that the blockchain was definitely not developed by in any kind of in any circumstances with the designers involved, because most of the things are more like IT way of doing things. That's why I've been invited to the company in order to help create a different culture, different approach on how we solve the issues that will help us to boost the customer and user experience. My team will consist of 5 people, including me, but currently just 3. And I've developed this idea that we want to have a dedicated team, and the team will be divided based on the stages of the product development process. So that's why I've got several researchers who will be the CX researcher will be focusing more on the external research when we want to learn something new about the clients in order to develop some kind of new feature or new product line. And the UX researcher would be responsible for helping to decide how this feature will be implemented in the real product, or how to change the current product in a better way. And also we definitely need someone to evaluate it at the end, and because we don't have even the simplest NPS measurement in the current way. And also I definitely need a research ops who will just be helping to make everything happen. The 3 things I'm going to focus on this presentation, I deliberately put at the beginning of the presentation, so you will learn where I'm kind of coming from. The first thing is the customer insights-driven product development culture, which I'm trying to evolve here. And I'll be telling what is the current way of doing things. Second, the importance of context for solution development. One of the things, as a discovery team, as a dedicated discovery team, we gather all the information about the client, and then we need to kind of pass it to the product teams. And it's really important how you actually do this. And context is one of those things that is really important for the discovery team to pass to the product team in order for them to create the better solution. And then I will talk about just a slide about how the product teams can actually proceed with all this data, and the way we give it to them means, or how they proceeded with that, really important to kind of be aligned with a strategy of what you want to do with your product. Okay, so let's start. Let's get back to this export button. So basically in our product, it's a B2B product, so companies would can sign up a contract with us, and we will help them to integrate this payment method. And after they installed everything and boarded things, at some point they need to take the kind of all the list of transactions and reports and actually export them to do certain things. The thing is that currently companies and people in the companies complain a lot about it, and they were kind of, I think, complaining it for a really long time. The the way things are usually done in the Coinspaid, I call it a solution-driven product development. Well, customers complain to different kind of people inside of the company. Usually, in our case, it's C-level management and account managers, the ones who actually talk with the clients. And so those guys would just hear this complaint, think about the, then give a solution straight to the product team. Maybe they can give them some context why they, or decision-making journey somewhere in their head, how they come up with this solution. But the thing is that product team doesn't have enough understanding of the initial problem. And there are so many solutions that come to the product team that they are not really they don't have time to actually do a proper research. So that's what I wanted to kind of change in the way the things are working. Wait, so for some reason, so this would be the example of how currently the solutions are being sent to the backlog of the product team. So as you can see, there are kind of certain ideas. They describe a problem just a little bit, but mostly it's not really anything about what is the actual context in which the pain happens or anything like this. And product team, I actually have to work with it somehow. So then I come to the play, and what I want to do is kind of change it to the customer insights-driven product development culture. When I, as a team, as a discovery team, I know that there is an issue with the expert button, but I don't want to go to the solutions part. I rather would go back to the customers and ask them, do the basic, I guess, do the basic research by asking them the stories. What are they actually doing with the button that then lead to their pain? What are their stories? What are their experience there? And then by kind of processing it through my team, through the knowledge that we have, through lots of interviews that we've done, then we create those customer insights and bring them to the product team. The way that it will be for the product team, the way that they will be able to comprehend it and actually use further on in their presentation. Just a second, I think I need to restart the presentation. This way, yeah, this is the way. So decided to do such kind of research. We've kind of put up some question that we want to ask or find answers for. So what are the jobs clients hire expert function for? Who uses the expert function? What are they trying to achieve there? So there were like a basic question. Of course, we did the interview guide, but we definitely needed to understand all those. We wanted to find the answers to all those questions. We did some in-depth interviews. First, we started with the internal ones because actually our own employees also at finance department, at the accounting department, they also used back office and they also use this function as well. So we were able to kind of learn from in a safe environment within the company what's about the expert button that they don't like. And then we also came to just 5 clients. We've had 8 respondents and with the different roles. And we actually learned that there are more roles than we actually initially thought when we were entering into the research. So the number is not really high, but we will learn a lot from just kind of 11 interviews. So basically, I would suggest every time you have this kind of issue, go to the client, any kind of issues with the experience, go to the client and just try to find anyone you can talk to in order to get the better understanding of what's happening. So the gathering and processing of the data happened like this. We've been doing the interviews via Zoom. We've ditched the Google Meet because the quality of the picture was not enough for us. Then the transcription had to be done manually. Some of the interviews were done in English, some of them were done in Russian, and the kind of the software that we were trying to use in order to transcript everything wasn't really performing well, so we had to do it manually. Then we were parsing all those those insights into quotes, steps, screenshots, and panes in order to get kind of the overall data. And then we, through the induction, decided to do the final presentation. It was all done in Figma. We prefer to work in Figma, at least for some of the projects. And this is how the interview parsing actually looks like, right? So like there are lots of screenshots. If you can see, the black ones are the ones with the back office. All the other ones is actually screenshots how the data that was exported actually being used, and how much additional steps had to be made in order to get the information sorted out the way clients needed for their goals. After we've kind of parsed those interviews and looked into them, we've defined few jobs to be done statements. This is just an example of 3 of them. There are much more. And the great thing about those statements is that they are, I really like them because they are more universal. So basically, I guess a lot of companies within the payment industry definitely have the same things. And for example, for reconciliation role, they need to keep the data consistent between both systems, the Coinspaid back office and the accounting system that they have. And basically this was their goal. And they've been hiring the expert body in order to get this thing done. Then we've expanded the statement to the job story to add the context there, to add the motivation. So it would be packed in a way product team would be easy to understand what is happening there and what is their goal and motivation. So it will be easier for them to create those solutions. So basically, this job story sounds like this. So when I compare transactions of Coinspaid back office and my accounting software daily, I want to quickly and effortlessly identify disparities quickly and edit them so I can be sure the data is consistent in both systems. In order to get this to this level of simplicity, we had to do several attempts to actually filter everything that is not really not too detailed, does not have any solutions in it, and I guess it worked. Also, we had identified pains, and we've also tried to create the list, which was quite short and enable product teams to easily understand what is the exact pain. An example, one of the things is like the export function freeze for reports consisting more than 100,000 transactions, which means you just you kind of click on the export button, but it just doesn't give you anything. It just stuck there forever. Or the other thing was the structure of the transactions needs additional actions to calculate actual fees accrued. The way we've presented the transactions and transaction costs was not easy to comprehend by the clients. So we've then kind of compiled the overall presentation. It looked like this. So it was lots of slides because we had a lot of kind of knowledge was gathered around. But in an essence, we had this kind of logic behind it. So we actually had statements. Every statement could have several job stories because they might have different contexts. An example, for the reconciliation example, one context would be to kind of do the reconciliation every single day. That's why you would have a limited kind of number of transactions. And the other thing is when you're trying to do the reconciliation once a month, the huge number of transactions, and it actually gives you a little bit different way how you try to approach it. We're having this kind of, I would say not mapped out because it was like in instructions. We've put in instructions the current journeys the users had to go through in order to get their things done. And we identified the pains on those steps. The thing about the pains that they actually appear the same problem could have appeared on the several journeys, and that's really important for us because by solving one pain, we can actually give great impact on the user experience for different jobs and probably for different roles. So with this knowledge that we've given to the product teams and through the presentation and through the kind of in-depth discussion of every single slide, now the product teams had enough understanding of what can they do, what are the issues, what is the context there, and can go on and look for the solutions, design solutions and try to solve the issues. So there are two options here, which way to slice all those pains that we have found and how to approach them and find the solutions. One approach would be to have those kind of jobs to be done statement focused. So you basically take a statement, a job story, you have this current journey, and you would decide that, hey, we want to solve all the issues for this particular journey in order to make this particular journey feel great. And we will take out all those pains away. While doing so, because those pains are repeatedly happen on other journeys as well, you kind of help the other journeys as like you change the other journeys as well. But the greatest experience will be only on this particular journey that you have. The other way around is to have kind of, I would say, a pain-focused approach. When you have this list of pains and you try to think and prioritize them in the way when you have like, what is the pain that have the most impact on the customer experience? Let's solve it then move to the second one, to the third one. And it might happen that those pains are actually distributed among some of the journeys, and not a single journey would actually have this great experience. Every single one would have some issues there, and you wouldn't have any wow effects anywhere. So, but basically, this is the product teams. It's on their, it's on their in their area of responsibility to decide which approach they want to take in. The importance of context, when I was saying that it's really important to give the context, not just the pains, not just the the journey, is that in the context, based on the context, different solution can be actually made. An example, if we have this export function freeze issue, if there will be no other context, then the direct solution would be to kind of redesign the way files are generated, and let's be sure that even if you have 1 million transactions, you will still receive the Excel file. But if we add the context there and we say that, hey, the files are then used for reconciliation with client's accounting software, we can think, okay, so the 1 million transactions would be a really like awful idea to have in Excel in order to get them kind of reconciled. Let's develop an API and let this accounting software sync with our software, with our back office data, and they will reconcile it on the daily basis. And the reconciliation manager will receive a notification if something differs. Or the other examples, right? So if the files are used to calculate account balance to manage liquidity, then we can do like, again, a really direct thing. Let's add the balance feature. But if we kind of dig deeper and think, maybe we can help even better. Maybe we can add a liquidity suggestion feature. And for this way we will also give more value to the client, and again, bring the user experience to a much better level. So basically, we currently done this research. We've given it to the product teams. Now we are helping them or supporting them to actually understand it in a detailed way, and it's still on the go. How we will, I really interested in to see how they will create those solutions and actually implement them. It's still going to be, I think, in this quarter and the next quarter. But yeah, I think those three things that I've mentioned at the start are the idea that this presentation probably proves, right? So like the customer insights driven product development culture really helps you to give more freedom to the product teams. It helps you to create better solutions, And if the product team doesn't really have this ability to go and do the research, then you definitely have to kind of create the dedicated team like us who have the context. Is really important for solutions development, and that's why it needs to be collected and kind of packaged in a way the product teams could consider it when they're creating solutions. And it's up to the product teams how they will slice the pie and how they will approach all those pains that they have found, or we have found. So it's kind of really interesting to see what will be happening further on. Thank you for your attention. I hope you have found something interesting in my presentation. So if yes, then please write me kind of 3 ideas that came to your mind while you were listening to me. And if you have any questions, again, please just find me somewhere in the social networks, or just send a WhatsApp message to me, and I'll be really happy to answer everything that you've asked me.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Igor. That was I really enjoyed that, because I'm a massive fan of jobs to be done. So anything that mentions it, I tend to get excited. So so just to reiterate, if anybody has any questions, please do write them in on whichever platform you're watching this on, and I'll collate those and pass them through to Igor. One thing that came up just as I was kind of listening to your talk, the export feature is a brilliant example of, this is as far as I'm going to go with our product, and then after that it's up to you. So that's something that often teams really have a challenge with. Where is the boundary of the product? So how do you manage that? And because with any product, you could keep digging and digging and digging, and you could keep finding problems and problems. So what do you use to make sure that you're not kind of stretching beyond what you should be focusing on?
Well, regarding the research, because I'm not a product manager, so product manager would definitely have those really strict borders. Probably they would have really strict borders. For me, when I'm doing research, I'm trying to kind of expand those borders as much as possible while we're having this conversation with the client. This way, by expanding it, I'm trying to make it larger than the product manager, have those borders. Otherwise, if I will not bring enough knowledge to the product manager, he would just say to me something like, you've missed it, because I don't understand why this certain thing happening. Also, one of those, I think, because I'm kind of new to the company and I'm trying to understand how far are we actually really want to go into the customer's life, I'm still trying to find this border. But if we'll come back to kind of on the previous job, when I was at Awesome, and I was doing a lot of research mostly on the internal processes, every single time, the more I dig, the more I expanded those borders. For the product managers, it was more and more helpful. So I guess maybe it's actually just like, a researcher's task is actually to show to the product manager that there are much more that he can handle, or much more than he can think about regarding the user's life, the customer's life. And maybe this is the way, that the product manager would think out of the box finally and create something that will have this wow emotions that we would really love to hear from the client.
Great. No, that is good, because I guess they might not even be aware of some of these challenges that people are facing, or probably aren't.
That's true. That's true.
And that ties in. Kayla has just put in a comment saying she appreciates your emphasis on context, because it is so imperative to drive out well-informed solutions that eliminates confirmation bias and returns the value back to the user. So she says, very well done presentation. So much.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah, I truly believe, when we're doing the research, we definitely have a lot of different ideas how to solve things. And when we are trying to kind of push this information to the product team, we are deliberately not saying anything regarding those ideas and solutions that we have, or that clients might have said, because in this way, when you just give them just a space saying, hey, this is the context and you can create whatever you want, it gives, I think, a great freedom for the people who are responsible for creating solutions, and they don't need to kind of be thinking, okay, so I've got this idea, but the client said the other idea, which one is better? Without this kind of, I would say, social pressure or idea pressure from anyone else, it's really up to you how you would solve it. So this, I think that's why, and context actually gives you all this data without the need to actually say the idea that the client said or something like this.
Great. No, I love that. That actually ties in a little bit with my next question, which is, so you're providing all of this context and all of this kind of like problems, but at the same time, they're probably still getting the stakeholder, that diagram that you showed at the start, the stakeholder sales teams, just tell them, just go build this. So how do companies, or sorry, how does the product team or your product team, how do they balance that out? That, oh, actually, we should solve this export and not the thing that the sales team is telling us to build.
So there are, I think what we're doing currently, we're trying to solve several issues at the same time. On one hand, we are trying to kind of balance the business strategy with the product strategy, and actually to align them between each other, and also align it with the backlog that we have with all those complaints, because I think currently we really have a big depth in terms of the UX features that actually needed to be done. And I think what we have, like we are coming to a conclusion that this year should be the year when we are trying not to create new features, but rather reiterate our own product that we have, the core product, the core features that are there, in order for and make them just better, simpler to use, have better experience, be more stable. And after that, probably next year, we will be able to kind of scale up a little bit. So and also, I think it's really important for us what we are doing as well. We are not just giving this interview results, this presentation, just to the product team, but we also come back to the account managers, to C-level managers, and tell them that, hey, we found the things, and make everyone be in the same context, in the same information board, information whiteboard, I guess that's what we call it. So basically, if everyone have the same amount of information, it's much easier to come up to the same solutions, rather than everyone have something different portions of the information, and they are not really know anything about someone else vision. So that's the thing, how we try to manage it. But again, but the product teams, I really want to give more emphasis that the product teams should have this autonomy into making those those decisions. And the reason why they need to do this, they should be really kind of they should deeply understand the client's context. And I don't believe that C-level managers or account managers are able to do this. They have different jobs, and product teams have this ability, and they just need it.
You just need the context and the empowerment. So
yes.
Excellent. That brings us to time. So thank you very much, Igor. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate your giving me a chance to do my speech. Thank you very much, and see you in New York.
Yeah, I'll be there.